Thank you, Change School, for asking me to be part of this amazing online community of yours and to be able to share my voice with your community out there. My name is Cristina Lopez McLauchlan, currently based in Hong Kong. All my life, I have been asked the question, where are you from? And it's been one of the most challenging questions I've actually come across to try and keep it short and succinct. So I'm going to do my best here. For the first 12 years of my life, I had a Filipino passport. And then after that, I have, and still do, have a New Zealand passport. So I am a Kiwi. My mother is Filipina and my dad is from New Zealand. My bloodline is Filipina, Chinese, Spanish, and Malay. I've lived in over a dozen cities that have spanned 4 different continents. And I have changed my address so many times I can't even remember everywhere that I've lived and moved to. I've been schooled in American, British school systems as well as New Zealand school systems. I did a stint in boarding school and also correspondence school. One of my party tricks is that I can count from 1 to 10 in about a dozen different languages. So my stints basically took me predominantly through Asia and Southeast Asia, and then my family were relocated to Morocco and Africa, and we lived in the States for a while in Michigan. At a TED Talk last year in Auckland, New Zealand, I had the privilege of being able to meet Grace and Salonia from the Change School and to listen to their talk, which was about being a third culture kid and being a global citizen. I am so grateful that I was there to listen to their talk and to meet them, because I was then finally able to label myself. For most of my life, when I was asked where am I from, I went into this full script and didn't really quite know where I was from and couldn't really identify myself. And now I know that I am equally normal, just like everyone else. My career background is in hospitality, events, live communications, and marketing. I also have a passion project. I'm the founder of the Vibe Tribe, which is basically a platform for me to fuel my love for holistic living, sustainability, and conscious living. I work with ethical, sustainable wellness brands, as well as acquiring and supporting talent within the yoga and wellness industry, acting as an agent. The Vibe Tribe produces events and platforms in order to educate our community whilst giving them the space to nurture themselves and each other, exchange, and discuss their learnings. The seed for the Vibe Tribe began when I repatriated back to New Zealand, actually in May last year. Having been away for almost a decade, I wanted to start a community platform so that I would then be able to meet like-minded people. The Vibe Tribe then started to evolve. I found myself working with a lot of healers, I'll call them, in the holistic industry. So with yogis and yoginis, and also with specific organic, sustainable brands. So I had the pleasure of being able to co-create and collaborate. On the offshoot of the Vibe Tribe, I also offer yoga teaching and work with several teachers around the world to offer yoga teacher trainings. And also, I personally offer holistic wellness coaching online. This month's theme, which is mental health and self-care, really resonates with me quite deeply, actually, because of my own personal journey with mental health. And also a few family members have been challenged with mental health. And I have met quite a few people in my global community that have also been challenged by the topic. The core values, or one of the core values of the Vibe Tribe, is transformation. So basically, one of the values states a commitment to expose through education and community the ability to transform our own lives in order to encompass a more balanced, holistic way of living. One of my favorite quotes is from Rumi, and it is, "Seek the wisdom that will untie your knot. Seek the path that demands your whole being." And for me, the whole being is not just this vessel of a body that we carry, but it is also mental health and emotional health, and actually quite a few other offshoots from what I think the whole being is. Mental health is defined by the person's condition to their physical and emotional well-being. So how healthy we are on the outside and inside, emotionally and spiritually, will affect the way our mind perceives our lives to be. My personal approach to mental health is takes on a more holistic approach. So not only looking into our psychological and emotional well-being, but also what are the layers underneath all of that even cause and affect the psychological and emotional well-being. So these are things that I believe, things like spirituality, creativity, your profession and your career, what's your home environment like, what kind of relationships do you have, not just with your potential love partner, but also your friends and your family. What brings you joy each day and every day? Do you nurture that? How are your finances? These are just several things that I think really affect how we are on an emotional, energetic level, and also potentially how we think. Today's society, today's pace of life is so fast. I struggle to keep up with it. I also am challenged by all the technology that's available now. Having moved back to Hong Kong, I'm still trying to get used to how everyone's just constantly glued to this little screen in front of them, which is their phone. This morning I was at the gym and I saw, he was very smart, but I saw a guy doing a plank pose, which is like a stomach exercise, whilst texting or writing an email. Very, very smart, but we tend to not really give ourselves much space or much of a break to nurture other areas of our lives which affect our mental health. Having grown up around the world, I have had to adjust each time, navigate my way through new cities, and really take on board the new languages and cultural way of living. Without having the ability to have built these tools for self-care, I probably wouldn't be, well, I definitely wouldn't be where I am now. But I did go through a rocky road, several rocky roads. You know, life isn't easy. And I think that there are certain things that definitely happen to us that challenge the foundation of our mental health. So for me, from my late teens, I started getting a bit inquisitive about looking after myself. It started off on a more physical level. I studied fitness foundations and nutrition, and then it evolved into a more spiritual level. So really nurturing the essence of who I am and doing things and being around and going to places that I enjoy and that fuel my spirit. Self-care is an activity that we do voluntarily to help ourselves. I am also a product of doing things that didn't quite help myself, and I have had to, at times, learn the hard way. So if we were to look into some of the areas that I covered, for example, creativity, what are the things that you do not every day, but just what are the things that you do in your life that give you that fuel for creativity? Whether it's tapping back into the artist within. Do you sketch? Do you paint? Like when we were kids, doing those things that brought us so much joy. Do you play an instrument, or have you wanted to pick up an instrument and learn? Have you taken up a hobby like photography, which is such a big hobby right now? Do you dance in your living room and pretend to choreograph dance skits for yourself? And how does that fuel your creative spirit? The next one is career. That's a big one. That has been a big one for me, really finding my path to do something that I believe has a purpose and do something that I love and that fuels all other areas of my life. We spend 40 hours, if not more, of our weeks working. So do we fill those hours with something that we really love and that's something that enhances us as people, or are we marching to the beat of society? The 9 to 5, stuck in an office, under fluorescent lights, working in a cubicle. Hey, people enjoy that. I'm not saying that that's not a good thing. I'm just saying that, is it for you? Because we've only got one shot at this. The infamous hashtag YOLO, you only live once. So we've got to make the most of it. So have a look at your career and your profession, because that does affect our mental health. We spend so much time doing work. So do what you love as much as you can, in balance. The next thing that we can look at is your home environment. And with your home environment, that's not just the actual house that you live in, but let's look at that first. So is your house in order? Is it clean? Do you keep it as a sacred space or a sanctuary that you can retreat to after a hard day or a not so good day? What is your home environment like with the people that you live, if you live with other people, whether it's your partner, your family, or roommates? So what kind of home environment are you creating for yourself? Because that really is a sanctuary for us. And if we can't relax and decompress in our own home, then that can certainly affect the mind and won't really give it that space and peace that it needs to re-energize and to just be still. The next one we can also look at is what's one of my favorites is relationships. So with relationships, we can look at our primary relationship, which will either be usually a partner, husband, or wife. We can look at our friendships, and we can also look at our family. So how are your relationships? Have you nurtured them lately, authentically? Do you come from a place of joy when you nurture these relationships? Are they serving you? Sometimes do you feel that you might need to have a bit of space between you and some family members, or sometimes some space between you and some friends, or look at ways of communicating better with your primary relationship? Because these interactions can also affect our mental health. The renowned businessman Jim Rohn said once that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So choose who you spend time with wisely. We only have so many hours in the day. And like I said before, today's society is happening so fast. Everyone wants to achieve so much, to be able to get more wealth so that we can get more things, so that we can feel better about ourselves and happier. So just be mindful of the amount of time that you are spending on go, 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 and also be mindful of the people that you choose to spend time with, because this will influence how we potentially view our world and our perceived reality. The big bang for me in regards to my mental health and how I self-care in that area is my yoga practice. It is a massive buzz right now all over the world, and I'm so grateful that it is has exploded, and that it has gone commercial, because I believe that in today's fast-paced life, we do require something like yoga. So for me, my yoga journey has been paramount in my mental health, the foundation that I have for my mental health and well-being. I can take my yoga practice anywhere. I can take it to any city, any country. I can take it on the mat or off the mat. And one of the principal teachings of yoga is not only about the poses, the physical poses that you see, but it's also about breath work and meditation. So for me, yoga practice has been a space and a place where I'm able to take some time out from me and create, whether it's an hour through a yoga physical practice or 20 minutes each day through my meditation. It just gives me some time to quieten my mind and tap into my breath. And with this particular practice, for me personally, it just allows me to slow down, to chill out a bit, and to also gain clarity and different perspectives on many, many parts of my life. And I'm just so grateful to be a student of the practice, and I will always be a student, and to also have actually graduated from yoga school. So I take my yoga practice with me everywhere, pretty much 24/7, except when I'm sleeping. So with the layering of some of these self-care tools that I tapped into, and the different holistic offshoots of mental health, what we can actually do is create a foundation for us and for our community to be able to nurture themselves from. So again, going back to, for example, how the Vibe Tribe began was a tool and a platform that I created for me, so that I could then have a foundation that I could grow upon in the form of self-care. So just if you know of anybody, or if you are going through some challenges in life, it's absolutely normal. We all have challenges day in, day out. Just remember that you are not alone. Where I come from, New Zealand, there is extremely high statistics on mental health, people that suffer from depression, and our suicide rate, unfortunately, is one of the highest in the world, especially among men. So for me, it's a subject that touches me very deeply, not only because the country that I come from is suffering from it, but also I've had family members, friends, and myself that have had to go through this particular journey and come out on the other side and actually see some light at the end of the tunnel. So call to action is, for me, if you are suffering or know of anyone that has some signs of poor mental health, first of all, give them a hug. Give them a good old hug and tell them that they're okay and that this too shall pass. Reach out to your community. Go get out there and go and do the things that fuel your spirit. If it's salsa dancing and you're feeling a bit low, go out there and dance and make yourself feel alive again. If it's appreciating a really nice Pinot Noir, go and do a wine tasting course and learn. Keep yourself stimulated with the things that you love. Look out also for community platforms like the Vibe Tribe, another Change School speaker, the Wedge Asia, which is based in Singapore. There are lots of communities in the cities that I have been blessed to live in that bring us all together so that we have some form of camaraderie and family. So I hope that this has been a bit of an insight into a small aspect of mental health, perhaps a larger ripple of what mental health is to me in a holistic form, and some of the things that you can do for yourself and for someone else, and also some of the things that some community platforms are out there doing and being the change and contributing. Thank you again so much, Change School, for inviting me. It's really an honor to be part of your tribe in your community, and please feel free to drop me a line. My details are down below. I would love to hear from you. If you know of anyone that could benefit from a holistic well-being program or some guidance, I offer those services as well, and hope that I can be the change that I wish to see in our beautiful world. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day or a great evening. Goodbye.